This is a beginner's guide on combat in Star Citizen. So you've started Star Citizen, or you've been playing for a while and you decided, I want to stop looking like an NPC at an ECN alert. Well, while this video won't make you an ace pilot, today's video is going to cover some beginner tips on how to get started in combat, PvP, and also PvE. Hopefully with some practice, you'll be winning a lot more battles in the PU. So let's get into it. Tip number 1, bear with me, practice. No matter if you're flying mouse and keyboard, HOTAS, HOMAS, HOPAS, or HOTABA-DAPA-LAPA-MAS. The best pilots in Star Citizen don't use a certain type of controller. The best pilots in Star Citizen practice. So if you don't have a certain type of controller, don't get discouraged. Sticks are amazing for immersion, and I personally use dual sticks and pedals, but they are not what makes a pilot good. Tip number 2, Loadout. Honestly, this needs its own video, but the tool we're going to be using today, the website, is called urkel.games. In the description, I'm going to be putting a lot of links to different builds that you might want to use. But let's build out our Aegis Gladius here. First thing, if you're a newbie, I would definitely 100% recommend laser repeaters. Why? They have the fastest projectile speed, which makes it easier to hit your targets. And if you're using ballistics, you're going to run out of ammo really fast. Cannons are really good for PvE, but they're not very good for PvP. So here we're going to be using 1, 2, 3 CF repeaters. We're going to keep the missiles default for now. Under shields, we'll be looking at 2 FR66s. For power plants, we'll be doing the JS300. And for coolers, we'll be doing 2 glaciers. Keep in mind you can find out where any of these items are by clicking the button next to the component and then going bottom right. Here you can see that it's available at Platinum Bay, Crew L1, and Orison. Next up, tip number 3 is slow down. Fast does not mean evasive. Let's talk about proper evasion. If you're approaching a target, you don't want to zoom by them. You're going to do barely any damage, you're not going to hit your shots, and they're not going to hit you. So this is just going to draw the fight out longer than it needs to. This will take some practice, but what I want you to do is I want you to go in slowly at a J angle. Keep your distance far enough from them and slow down enough where you're going to hit your shots and maintain a good distance to be evasive. And if you want to attempt to practice flying decoupled for these maneuvers, I think it makes them easier. I fly decoupled 99.99% of the time, and personally, I think it makes me a better pilot and makes me move better. It will take a lot of practice to get down though. The best way to be evasive this patch is while boosting, use rolling and strafe. How you're going to do this is you're going to apply upward strafe while rolling to the left or the right. You can add in other strafes up into the left, up into the right, down into the left, down into the right. But your upward strafe is more powerful. Most people refer to this as a corkscrew or a canted roll. While you're doing this, you're going to need to maintain a forward and backward relationship with the other ship. Under 1,000 meters is really the only time you should be pulling the trigger. Above this distance, it's going to get really hard to hit your shots consistently on your target, unless they're basically sitting still. This is what it looks like when it all comes together. Next up is aim. No matter what you used before now, it's tempting to stay in auto gimbal. But learning fixed is not just going to make you a better pilot. You'll aim better and you get more DPS since you don't have to size down with gimbals. Rip the band-aid off. I'd recommend adjusting your ESP and VJOY settings, and you can find that here under game settings. My VJOY range is 8 and 8, and my ESP is 1/20. What VJOY range is an area on the screen that your VJOY has to reach in order to get 100% pitch and yaw. So there is no earthly reason why you would need to go all the way to the edge of the screen to get 100%. With a smaller VJOY range, you're doing a lot more concise, small, and neat movements. ESP is an invisible circle that's around your target. When your reticle enters this zone, your aim is going to become dampened. The higher your ESP dampening, the more dampening you'll have. The bigger the range, the bigger the circle is. Pretty simple. Best way to practice aim is to go into Arena Commander, go into Pirate Swarm, and while maneuvering, try to hit your targets. Then you could ask a friend to duel you, as well as going into Battle Royale in Arena Commander. Next up is capacitors. So if you're on mouse and keyboard, the first thing I'd recommend is setting your capacitors to 1, 2, 3, or 4. Personally, I have mine on 1 for weapons, 2 for engines, and 3 for shields, 4 to reset. I have mine on tap to increase, hold to max. I typically start with weapons and then switch to boost or shields. It's situational. You'll notice after using your weapons or your boost or getting hit on your shields, there's going to be a slight delay to get them charging again. But always be in something else while you're shooting. It's a waste of power to put your power into weapons while shooting. Keep in mind, if you get hit while you're in combat, your shields are going to be on a 5-second cooldown recharge. What that means is having power in shields for the next 5 seconds is a total waste. So when in doubt, putting power into boost to be evasive is never a bad thing. Tip number 6, multi-crew. A lot of the advice I've given you today has been for more solo fighters or smaller fighters, but do not underestimate the power of multi-crew. A Hurricane, Redeemer, Hammerhead, these are ships that are painfully scary in the PU right now. If you have friends to play with, unlike myself, don't be afraid to hop into a ship with multiple people. Turrets are extremely powerful at the moment. I'm kind of dreading this, but tip number 7, missiles. Now, missiles are really effective for PvE. It's really PvP that they start to become inconsistent. They don't really work past 500 meters a second, and they're really easy to counter. That being said, when is the best time to use missiles? If you're fighting someone in atmosphere, missiles are incredibly scary, or if they're moving relatively slow. Pressing middle click brings you into missile operator mode, and tapping G increases your missiles. What you want to do is lock your opponent with as many missiles as possible and fire them at the absolute minimum range. This is going to give you the best chance of hitting them without them flaring them off. Missiles that I'd recommend are the cross-section missiles. I have heard a lot of different things about different missiles, but these are the ones I have the best luck with. That would be Arrestor size 3, Strike Force size 2, or Spark size 1s. Just make sure that you're not using your missiles to win fights. If you're relying on missiles, you're going to lose most of your fights. You need to be relying on your aim and your guns. Just a reminder, AC, practice your aim, practice with friends, battle royale, practice, practice, practice. If any of these tips I gave you today, canted rolls, capacitors, aiming, slowing down, none of these are actually going to matter if you don't practice. That being said, good luck, Godspeed. That's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment down below or catch my live streams on Twitch. I stream almost every day. Everyone be cool. Everyone be cool. Everyone be cool. Everyone be cool. I'm out! I got him though! Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, now he's got no weapons left. We'll let him go. Have a nice day. Until next time, this is Captain Berks, signing off.